Hello and welcome to FirePort80's 52nd edition in association with NASCOM. So for the newbies, FirePort80 is a community of technology enthusiasts who share in the cause of free knowledge sharing. The emerging and relevant trends in the world of technology are discussed here. So this is the 52nd edition, which means we've covered over 4 years. We've been going strong for 4 years now, for which I have to thank all the participants and speakers over the years. And in spite of it being the Onam season, the celebrations are just winding down. We have this turnout here for which we're very thankful. So as is customary, let's start with Tech Bites, for which I invite my colleague, Mr. Errol.
Hi all, thanks Maria, and I'm here to present the Tech Bytes. It's, uh, the session deals with the latest technological updates which happened previous month, and moving on to the first one is Facebook app 360 degree. Uh, it deals with Facebook app currently give the provision to capture 360-degree panorama photos. We were able to upload photos, 360-degree photos before, but currently Facebook is providing the provision to capture the photo also. So it will remove the need of a third-party app. And the next one is Android O. Android has announced the latest version of their mobile software. It's called Android Oreo, and some of the features which is updated are power saving, picture in picture, app and reboot the apps very fast, Google Play protection, autofill password management, and also boot loop prevention. So going to the next topic, it's AR Core on Android. AR Core is something similar to ARKit in iOS. So Google is providing AR Core, which is augmented reality, and using this framework, developers will be able to use augmented reality in Android mobiles. And also it can be used in latest Android OS like Android 7 and version. That's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Errol. So let's move on to the session. So the relay of this month will deal with Swift 4, and it will be delivered by Mr. Jason Simon, Senior Engineer at InvestNet, a web and mobile developer who has developed applications for BlackBerry 10 and Windows Phone 7. He is passionate about hardware and tinkering. So I invite Mr. Jeswin onto the floor for the session.
Take this one. Hello. Hi, good evening everyone. I'm Jeswin. So I'm here to take a session on Swift 4. So our session is stepping up to Swift 4. So it's been 4 years since Swift has been launched, and the latest stable release of Swift is Swift 4, which is coming in another few days. So today we'll see what are the new features that have been added to Swift 4. So unlike the previous version, Swift 4 does not have any major, major changes that that you need to change your code. Most of them are enhancements on previous APIs. The first thing is the string. So if you guys remember, the first version of Swift had string as a collection type, but on later versions in Swift 2 and Swift 3, these were changed. Now it's back as a collection type. That means previously to iterate over the characters, we need to use string.characters. So we no longer require the character method. So this is how strings work in Swift 4. So we can the string is treated as a collection of characters. We can directly iterate over the string, directly perform actions on the string without getting its character array. And the next thing is the issue with the emojis. Previously on Swift 3, we had an issue with the emojis displaying the character count incorrectly. So the issue was Swift 3 was supporting emojis in Unicode 8, and the newer emojis that came in Unicode 9 were no longer supported. So that has been updated here. I'm able to show the preview in the playground here. Some issues with the playground. So previously the issue here was it would display all the flags as a single character, and emojis with skin color would be displayed as more than one character. So all these issues has been fixed in Swift 4. The next is the introduction of multi-line string literals. So Swift 4 allows for multi-line string literals. So we can add a multi-line string using 3 quotes. And a few things regarding the multi-line string literal is, first thing is the string must start on the next line, and the starting and ending quotes must be in their own lines. And another thing, the indentation is not, sorry, the indentation, if I have my end quotes over here, and if I have my code formatted this way, this indentation is not considered. But I have it this way, the indentation is considered. The indentation starts from the point where the end quotes start. And to escape new line, we can use backslash to escape off the new lines. And another thing is the introduction of substring. So Swift 4 has a new type called the substring. So whenever we perform actions on a string, we create substrings. They are of type substring. So the advantage of substring is that they consume less memory, because substrings are still held on the parent string. They are not held as a separate string. They are copied only on write. So one thing to be noted here is that when we are writing the substring, when we are taking up the substring as a separate string, we need to create a string instance and save it, or else it will still contain the entire parent string. The next is a new range operator. So previously in Swift 3, we had 2 range operators. One is the closed range and the other one is the half open range. So now we have another range. I think I'll just restart the playground. So the new range operator is a one-sided range operator where we need to specify only one range, infinity to the range we provide. So the one side is taken as open-ended. So this, as we can see here, if we were to do the same thing, so earlier if we required to start the range at the start index, we had to explicitly mention the start index. Or if I needed to end it at the end index, I had to explicitly mention the index. So in these cases now we have the open-ended ranges. So in case of collection types, the end index is automatically computed by Swift. We no longer require to mention the end index. So again, the one thing to be noted here is that the index goes till infinity. The index goes till negative infinity, and the close index goes till positive infinity. So as you can see here, I have a simple switch case that says up to 2 and beyond 4. So in this case, when I try the range of -1, falls under case 1. So the ranges go from infinity to the range we have mentioned. The next is the changes made to the collection types, the dictionary and set. The first option is the zip that allows us to merge two arrays into a single collection. You can have array or any sequence type that can be merged to a single dictionary. So here you can see here again I've used open-ended range. Again, another thing is there is a new option to handle the duplicates. So unique keys with takes a closure similar to how we have for filter. So in this case, in case of duplicates, we have asked it to add loading. The above case, we have instructed the dictionary to use the first case. Here we are having both the values added. And similarly, we have a filter for set that again takes a closure. The another option is creating a dictionary by grouping. Here we are grouping the dictionary by their first characters. Having some issues with Xcode over here since I'm running both the versions at the same time. Start it once more. In this case, we'll have 3 dictionaries, each grouped by their first character. We'll have one dictionary with key J, one dictionary with key S, and another dictionary with key A. We have 3 dictionaries, and again this is the result of our so this handles the duplicates by adding them, and this handles the duplicates by picking the first option. The next is the codable protocol. So we have a new protocol that allows serialization and archiving. So this is very useful if we are trying to convert data from model to a serial format like a property list or JSON. So here I have a structure that conforms to the codable protocol. I can directly encode this to a JSON string, and here I'm decoding the same thing back to the object. So here for the decoder, we are providing the type of object we are trying to decode and the data. And another change again, this is something that has been reverted. So in the first version of Swift, if we declare a property private, we could use it within the extensions that were in the same file. But later it was reverted and it was changed to file private. Later, only if the property was file private, we could access it within the extensions in the same file. So if we make a property file private, we can access it within the extensions of the same method or same object or the other objects within the same file. But right now, again, that has been changed. So if I declare a property private, I can access it in extensions within the same file. So similar example that in Swift 3 would be here. Only if I declare it as a file private, I would be able to access it within this extension. Private, I wouldn't have access. In Swift 4, file private is still required. In Swift 4, file private is still required if I'm trying to access this private method within other objects or their extensions. The next addition is the key value coding. Here we are allowed to not running again. So here we are declaring the keys which can be used to access properties from the object. So to declare a key, we are again escaping it. So one major change is the option to declare a property that conforms to class and multiple protocols. So earlier we had this option in Objective-C where we could declare a property of a type class and that conforms to multiple protocols. So the problem in Swift 3 was that we were not allowed to have multiple protocols or objects in the classes in the declaration. So this has been changed now, so this gives a more accurate declaration method. The previous option was to declare it as a UI image view, which is not accurate because what we require is something that conforms to the header view protocol. So any questions? Sorry? Which routine? Yeah, we have Swift for Linux. You'll have to Swift is actually a programming language. You can sorry, I don't get your question. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't get it. So Swift applications can be compiled in different environments. So we have the compiler in not exactly sure, but I think we have a variant for Linux also. Can we take this offline because I'm not exactly sure. So I didn't get you. Yeah, but if you are using Swift for iOS development, you will have to use a Mac environment. Anything else? Yeah, these are the major additions in Swift 4. So other than string, everything else are additions. Other than string and the another one is the that Objective-C inference has to be explicit in Swift 4. So if you are compiling it in Swift 3.2, you can still use the Swift 3 behavior, but it is recommended to explicitly tag all the Objective-C methods. So this and the changes to string. Other than that, rest are mostly additions. The next is migrating to Swift 4. So when we are migrating from Swift 2 to 3, we had an intermediate version of Swift 2.3. So similar to that, there is a Swift 3.2. Swift 3.2 is not actually a separate compiler. Swift 3.2 is a compilation mode on the Swift 4 compiler. This if you're compiling your Swift 3 code in Swift 3.2, will retain the existing behavior and it'll try to bring in the new API changes. And another advantage of Swift 4 is that the compiler allows Swift 3.2 and Swift 4 targets to coexist within the same project. So if you are moving your dependencies over to Swift 4, you can do it one at a time. So earlier we wouldn't be able to compile, we wouldn't be able to build the target unless all our projects were moved to Swift 3 in case of Swift 2.3 to 3. So this time here it allows individual targets to be moved at a time. If you have dependencies that are still in 3.2, you'll be able to build your file, your application. So moving on to new frameworks in iOS 11. So iOS 11 has introduced two major frameworks. One is Core ML for machine learning. So Core ML actually has 3 layers of frameworks. So the natural language processing had already existed. So even gameplay kit was previously present. Now the two new introductions are Vision and Core ML. So if you are trying to build an application that requires machine learning, and you can either use these different layers. So let's say you are building an application that identifies images. You can either use the frameworks in Vision, and if you are using if you're building an application that identifies strings, language for language processing, you can use the NLP framework. If that is not sufficient, if you want to use your own model, you can use Core ML. So if you want to write your own algorithms, you can use Accelerate and Metal Performance shaders. So it depends on the use case. So when you're using Core ML, you need to have your trained model. You can import your trained model into Xcode and directly use them. So another important framework is ARKit. So ARKit is the augmented reality framework introduced in iOS 11. So it has 3 important aspects. One is visual inertial odometry. It uses the image data from your camera and the core motion data from your accelerometers and gyroscope. And second one is scene understanding and light estimation. So it can detect the planes and it can estimate the lighting in the surrounding. And ARKit is available in devices with A9 processor and above. So currently that supports iPhone SE, iPhone 6s and above, and the new iPad and the iPad Pros. So each of this can be seen in a example. So this is one example sample application created that calculates the distance. And there's another example for the scene understanding. Here this identifies plane of a pool. This example here is mimicking the landing of SpaceX Falcon. Here it identifies the plane of the pool and sets the barge on the pool. And for light estimation, we have this particular example over here. The shadows are rendered perfectly. So as you can see in this example, the model identifies the plane of the flow and it estimates the lighting in the room, and the shadows are laid out accurately based on the lighting of the scene. And these are some of the new features in iOS 11. One good thing to note is finally they are bringing in a Malayalam keyboard. So iOS 11 is a major update for the iPad. So it is changing the workflow of how we interact with an iPad. So one major change for that is the drag and drop feature. So this allows data to be shared between applications. So this is drag and drop where a user is selecting some photos and attaching it to an email. So there is a dock that allows us to pin applications and move data between them. And another one is the file manager. iOS is providing a file manager for both iPhone and iPad. So previously we didn't have a universal file manager. So this brings in that. Any questions? Yeah, the applications can access the file storage. Yeah. So, basically that's it. So for further resources, I'd recommend the Apple developer site, and raventellage.com is a very good site for iOS development tutorials. And Ole Begaman has a very good playground that showcases all the new features in Swift 4. And interesting applications like these made with ARKit is currently available in a website called madewitharkit.com. Yeah, basically that's it. Is the playground. No, we are running it in Xcode and it supports markup. So let's have the comments and to add a colon. Yeah, I can show another example over here. This has markup in between. Next and back has at next and at previous. This no that this playground I have multiple pages, so I can add another page over here. Yeah, here the newly added page. Yes, Right now I'm having some issues with the playground. Just Xcode. Yeah. This requires the latest 10.12.6. Yeah, if you want to run Xcode 9 beta. This is the latest stable version. This is code 8.3.2. Yeah, I'm running both at the same time, so I'm having some issues. We have the Xcode command line tool. Yeah, and yes, and there is also a Swift REPL in the command. This is the Swift REPL. Yeah, yeah. So this preview over here, and the output would be. Yeah, well, yeah. That, yeah. So there is also an application called Swift Playgrounds for iPad. Yeah. I don't think we'll be using the same format. Yeah. So no, you'll have to create that on the iPad. Not sure if these two formats are again. Swift Playground is integrated with multiple accessories like the Mindstorm. Yeah. Uh, that is not easy. Again, you need to text code for building for iOS device. You can compile Swift. This is the playground on the iPad. No. On device, on your Mac, you don't require. You require a developer account, a personal account, that is a free account if you are deploying to your own device. It's free. Like if you're deploying to your own device, that means you'll have to use the same Mac ID on the iPhone. So earlier it used to be paid, like you can deploy only on the simulator if you are having a free account. Now your own account you can deploy. No. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, there are some tools, core ML tools that allows you to convert the yeah, not Swift to the core ML model format. The pre-trained models we imported into Xcode. It is an API based on that, and we use. There is a separate set of tools that you can use to convert the models. So one problem right now is that the model can't improve based on the data from the field data. We have to need a completely pre-trained model. Yeah. And again, the entire processing happens on the device. Right now, most of the applications that we are using, you do the processing on the server. Core ML, ML processing happens on the device. There are a few server-side frameworks. Even Android development is theoretically possible. Yeah. There is a project, but all you can do is a proof of concept, nothing beyond that. Sorry? Everything is encrypted on the device. All your data, everything is encrypted at rest. Yeah, but only within the device. You're not accessing the data using that. What we're discussing right now is deploying an application from Xcode. Yeah, that reminds me of one more thing. Starting from iOS 11, we have an option for wireless deployment. So Wi-Fi, Ethernet or Bluetooth. Not sure about Bluetooth. Wi-Fi and Ethernet possible. Wi-Fi and Ethernet, yeah. Ethernet is not for iOS. If you are deploying to a tvOS, Apple TV. Uh, I would need your Apple ID and password. Yeah. So as long as your device has the same Apple ID, size of the application won't change because size won't change because the model is not changed. Yeah, yeah, it will definitely increase based on the model. The remove use application Prisma, uh, it won't work, and it even to apply the filters it takes quite some time. Yeah. Uh, Questions? Yep. No, it supports only devices with A9 and above the processor. Yeah, the device has to be iPhone 6s and above. An iPhone 6 is not supported. S or iPhone SE. Yeah, I think the cheapest device supported is iPhone SE. And iPads, the iPad Pros are supported, and the new iPad is supported. Yeah, that's plane detection without the dual cameras. Yeah. Yeah, possible. Yeah. Not version dependent, but any device that supports iOS 11, 5s and above. 6 has, but you won't be able to use ARKit. Library as in framework library, or we'll take that offline. Have the binaries for its standard framework. Um, can't say for sure because both are pre-release, and I think AR Core been released, right? Previously, Tango used to be hardware dependent. Now they have released AR Core, which can be okay. So I just read an article about AR Core, but I haven't seen any sample. Yeah, no, but it was launched recently, so like a competition. So we have this site over here that shows samples of applications made with ARKit. Last 2-3 months, this is one customizing Tesla Model 3 thing ARCore. It's, the reflections are pretty accurate on the car body. Uh, you mean like shadows? Yeah. Yeah. That. Yeah. Even I'm not sure about that, but shadows are possible because in the previous. This is another one. This has integrated the Apple Pencil application. Yeah.
So I think we've come to the end of the session. Thank you for that informative session, Jeswin. I'm sure this has provided you all with a platform from where you can delve deeper into the world of Swift 4. So to present the speaker with the memento, I invite my colleague, Mr. Reja Rahim. All right, so with that, we've come to the end of this month's Firepot 80. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for coming.